Work called police when I didn't show up? Question mark. I worked at Orange Theory Fitness for $12 per hour for about 5 months. They guaranteed me I would be working part-time and then proceeded to schedule me full-time the entire time I worked there and would never let me have a day off and were completely unreasonable. They totally bait and switched me, telling me how they were flexible and a family, and that I would work part-time, and then once I started working there it was hell and I would be reprimanded for asking for even one day off. I finally had enough and didn't show up for my shift one day or answer any of their efforts to reach me. The cops showed up to my door that day looking for me because my work had basically told them I was in danger or possibly a missing person because I didn't show up. I was shocked. They never cared about me as a human until I didn't give them what they wanted from me. I thought it was honestly offensive and disrespectful to call law enforcement on me instead of just realizing that I was done with their shit and wanted none of it anymore. Don't work their people. In desperation, a few years back, I applied to Orange Fitness. I screwed up the directions to the place, which was tucked in the back of a strip mall and not visible from the road. I stopped and called them and apologized and told them what was happening and I would be late, or we could reschedule. The guy on the phone said, "We'll see you when you get here." I finally found it, maybe 5 to 10 minutes late, and was met in the foyer by the manager. In front of other staff and several customers he said, loud enough for all to hear, "We won't be interviewing you. We take tardiness very seriously." I let him know that I had called to let them know I was having trouble finding the place, but he didn't want to hear it. I let him know he could have told me on the phone not to come in. I guess he enjoyed the power trip too much. I currently work here and I don't even have to know what location you worked at to know that's 100% true. The last time my manager said, "We're a family," I told her that it's the biggest red flag and she best not be saying that. Also, if you're a member and you just has your rate go up, start asking if employees, front staff and coaches are getting a raise. The company sent out objection scripts that state the price hike is to invest in coaches and equipment. And as of now, none of that is correct. Fuck this company. And if you're hiring for a personal trainer, hit me the fuck up, let's get fit. I cried in my car in the work parking lot once on a very stressful day. My work involved ludicrous deadlines most days. Someone in the business park called the police on me for crying in my car at work. These busybody Karens just can't keep to themselves and mind their own business. The police don't give a flying frick, don't call them. Sorry, something similar happened to you. Wow. We have OTF in my area and they're actually a client of ours. Not sure where you're located, but yikes. So sorry this happened. I quit my job and my old company also sent the police to my house because they thought I was a danger. They arrived, but I was out on a walk. But they found me. I was super happy and motivated at the time. Explained some of why I quit and they shuffled off realizing that they were being used. I can get calling an emergency contact if you didn't show, but the cops? That's extreme. Wellness checks do serve a legit purpose though. Especially if someone lives alone. We've had coworkers found dead at home, or in hostage situations. To share another story, I worked at a theater for many years. We had a woman in the costume shop who did not come to work one day and did not respond to phone or email. The theater did call in a wellness check and the police found that she had died in her home. The theater actually did go above and beyond to celebrate her life and work. I know many employers lately have done predatory police calls on employees they are fully aware have quit. And that's fucking deplorable. But I think many employers probably do have a justifiable policy of contacting the police if someone disappears without any contact and their emergency contacts cannot be reached. I've called the cops for a welfare check for somebody that didn't show up before. Turns out she was in a car crash and in the hospital. There's plenty of true crime stories where people who are actually in danger only get noted as missing only because their bosses and coworkers check up on them. I understand what you're saying. But this is the purpose of wellness checks. Watch any true crime show and half the time, people are noticed missing because they were good workers and didn't show up for work. If you didn't want people concerned, you should have just quit or said you weren't coming in. I hate corporations and stuff as much as the next guy. But it have done the same and not felt bad. If anything, this would be an example of them caring to me. I've had people die at jobs I've had. At their homes, not work. Just not wake up before. It happens. A woman at my work didn't show up to work one Monday after a few scheduled days off the previous week. The employer tried to contact her numerous times and eventually decided to do a wellness check. Turns out she was murdered by her husband early on over her break, and her disappearance was reported for the first time by our employer. The rest of her family lives in another country. The husband has still not been charged 5 years later, and he is the primary caregiver for their son, who is now around 8 or 9 years old. In that case, the wellness check was warranted but still didn't actually help. She was already dead and nothing came from it. Should have told the cops it was a false report on their part. Honestly, I think the company's shitty high-pressure tactics should be considered a bit separate from them asking for a welfare check. As someone who lives alone in a foreign country and with family that almost never calls me, my employer would probably be the first ones to notice my absence. It's a bit scary for me to think how long it would take for family and friends to raise the alarm if I was dead or had some medical issue but couldn't use the phone. So frankly, I'm okay with an employer initiating a welfare check if I inexplicably disappear. Maybe it's a bit crazy if they are doing it all in one morning, but how many days should they wait if I'm lying dead in my bed? Lol. Did they try to call you before resorting to police check? If they made repeated calls, left messages and did not get you, this is a legitimate cause for concern, especially if you live alone and they know this. Usually, the second step would be reaching out to your emergency contacts to confirm your safety and whereabouts. I hope you told the cops what really was going on so they could charge them for calling in a false complaint. Bro. Someone there, probably a coworker or supervisor of yours, told management that they should probably call your emergency contact or emergency services because they were concerned. I've been a worker. I've been management. I've been supervision throughout my working life, and I have never once failed to follow up with a no call, no show. Not once. Ever. Several times I have had to call an emergency contact or emergency services when I couldn't get a hold of someone, and of those times, twice a dead body was discovered. Why do I do this? Because I genuinely care about the people around me. I would hope someone would do the same for me. You should know that most of the time your supervisor has absolutely no say in what your wages, raises, and/or benefits are. 99% of the time. That's up to upper management and HR. Don't blame your supervisor for giving a shit and checking up on you. I know what sub I'm in and I get an idea of how they treat employees. But I'm pretty sure they were genuinely concerned. I had a coworker not show up to work once. first time in over 5 years. He wouldn't answer his phone and we tried to reach him everywhere we could, including with his family, but they didn't know anything or could reach him either. We called the police and what do you know? He had a seizure and was passed out in his living room. Doctors said it was a combination of medication he was taking plus alcohol. He's fine and it was a one-time thing. But I'm still glad we called the police. I get your situation is not the same. But it is weird when a coworker just suddenly cuts communications out of the blue. No calling in sick or quitting. No nothing. I might be the outside one here. But I think if a reliable employee doesn't show up, you call. It's happened twice at my job. It's usually not a good outcome. 1 car accident and 1 heart attack. I do understand your post is more about them lacking self-awareness more than the call itself. I don't blame you for taking offense. But I will share a story to show why they did it. My aunt didn't show up for work one day. No one could get a hold of her. After a couple of hours they called her daughter who couldn't get a hold of her either. Then called the police for a welfare check. Lo and behold, she had passed unexpectedly in the middle of the night. It's not just busybodies being busybodies. If you no call no show, something could be wrong and no one would be any the wiser. It wouldn't surprise me if they do it just because of liability though. We had this happen at my work. A wellness check on a long-time employee that just stopped showing up. They found him dead alone in his trailer. Which is a pretty depressing way to go. When nobody except your work notices you've died.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.